中国人说到做到。
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the Chinese Communist Party threatening to smoke Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi if she decides to visit Taiwan. Now, this is a really big story that nobody's really talking about. It's kind of just not really a big deal. John Kirby, who at one point was the Pentagon's press secretary, now he's part of National Security Council, doing some kind of coordinator for comm, some kind of long, convoluted title. He says it's not really a big deal. What's a big drama? But before I go into all the details and the reaction, let's talk about what happened and why the CCP have threatened to shoot Nancy Pelosi's plane out the air, threatened to smoke her basically if she goes to Taiwan. Now, Nancy Pelosi right now is on the Asia tour. She's going to Malaysia, South Korea, Japan, and Singapore. And Taiwan is possibly on the list. News, quote unquote, leaked that she was going to Taiwan. And then when people in the government, like, I don't know, President Biden and others were pressed, hey, is she going to Taiwan? What's going on with that? It was kind of an iffy answer. Well, I don't know if she's going there. We can't say that. That's for her to say, not for us to say. It's kind of weird. So if she goes to Taiwan, it'll be the next few hours, maybe a day or so. We'll see. But she might not want to go because of what China has threatened. Now, some of you guys may say, well, hey, ABO, that wasn't China that said that. It was somebody from their news media. Well, in China, the news media is a government. So, I mean, if the news media says that we're going to kill Nancy Pelosi, allegedly, it's the same thing as Xi Jinping himself going on TV and saying it, essentially, right? And if that person from the government says a thing that's out of the ordinary, goes against if it goes against the Chinese Communist Party, they're going to get smoked. But here's the actual statement right here, and I'll link to this statement and subsequent videos in the description, but you see it right here. The original tweet says, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi plans to depart for a tour of Asia today. The whether she'll take a high-stakes stop in Taiwan remains uncertain. That's the original tweet that China, through their media agency, responded to. Now, check it out. This is from Hu Jinjing. I know I'm turning the name up, but I'm sorry. The tweet says, if U.S. fighter jets escort Pelosi's plane into Taiwan, it is invasion. The PLA has the right to forcibly dispel Pelosi's plane and the U.S. fighter jets, including firing warning shots and making tactical movement of obstruction. If ineffective, then shoot them down. So talking about shooting down Air Force One out the sky, you're talking about smoking the Speaker of the House of the U.S. government, Nancy Pelosi. Now, and the reason why they're talking like this is because of the one China policy. You see, there's different regions, different, I guess you would say, semi-autonomous or fully autonomous areas in China, and certain places that China claims that don't really want to be claimed by China. A good example is the Xinjiang province, also known as East Turkestan, where the Uyghurs live. That's a kind of autonomous area that China took over, and they want to make them become Hanais, which is a different story. Anyway, that's a different region that China claimed. Tibet used to be independent, no more. Hong Kong was kind of a different situation. Macau, also different. Inner Mongolia used to be independent, no longer. And Taiwan right now is fully autonomous. They have their own president, their own government, their own economy, 39 million people, everything. And they get help from us militarily. But China sees Taiwan as still part of China, which is why when you go to the Olympics, they're not called Taiwan. They're called Chinese Taipei, because China is like, look, if you call them Taiwan, if you recognize their president and see them as independent, we're going to boycott the whole thing. You're going to have problems with us on that level. So that's what's going on. So if Nancy Pelosi hops on Air Force One and gets escorted into Taiwan with fighter jets, oh, now we got a problem. See, they may see her as kind of a Trojan horse to bring in U.S. military might into China, basically, to invade. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong, but that's their point of view. So that's why there's a whole big drama. But if you ask, what's my man's name? John Kirby. John Kirby used to be the Pentagon press secretary up until May of this year. but now he's working with the National Security Council, and he's a communicator director of comms, some kind of weird long title. They gave people these longest titles in the world, like the one bald head LGBT guy looking like Krillin from Dragon Ball Z, assistant deputy director of nuclear waste management. I don't know what his title is, but it's about 18 different phrases put together. I mean, good grief. But anyway, so that's that on that. But we got videos here. Now, here is government official over in China explaining the whole situation a little bit more. And of course, he's speaking in Chinese. So if you can't understand Mandarin or Canto, whatever kind of dialect he's speaking, please read the subtitles. But I'll stop it at certain points to explain what's going on.
习近平主席同拜登总统通电话时强调，中国政府和中国人民在台湾问题上的立场是一以贯之的，坚决维护中国国家主权和领土完整，是14亿多中国人民的坚定意志。民意不可违，玩火必自焚。
So basically he's saying, look, the issue of Taiwan is very sensitive. And if you kind of meddle in that, you're dealing with the issue of China's sovereignty, of the 1.4 billion people and their will. So, and you see this last little line right here, at least in this segment, those who play with fire will perish by it. That's pretty direct. That's pretty direct. Although that tweet that I read to you from the beginning was deleted, this is recent. This is coming from today, August 1st, 2022.
相信美方已经充分了解中方传递的强烈清晰信息。佩洛西众议长如果赴台，将是对中国内政的粗暴干涉，严重损害中国主权和领土完整，肆意践踏一个中国原则，严重威胁台海和平稳定，严重破坏中美关系。
So they're telling her, look, if Nancy Pelosi comes to Taiwan, that's going to be a really big problem. You're going to damage the one China policy, U.S.-China relations, peace in the Taiwan Strait, and China's own internal dealings as far as their government. That's going to be very bad. So the best thing would be to not do it.
导致非常严重的事态和后果。我们要再次正告美方，中方正严阵以待。 中国人民解放军绝不会坐视不管。
So now he's talking about the Chinese army getting involved, that the U.S. wants to defy what China is saying as far as Nancy Pelosi not visiting Taiwan, then they're prepared to retaliate with whatever they need to retaliate with. All right. I won't play that entire clip, but of course I will link to it in the description, but you can see it right here. Okay. Biden said that he supports the one China policy. Kirby, the former Pentagon press secretary, says he believes in the one China policy, but yet they send Nancy Pelosi, or she went by herself. They didn't send her. She went by herself to Taiwan on Air Force One. So it's like, well, what are you really doing? If Nancy Pelosi does not go to Taiwan, then China wins because they're able to tell her, yo, don't do it. They're kind of able to bully her. If she does go, now we got a serious problem. I'm not really sure what the solution would have been. I don't understand her purpose in going there. Like, you know, if you go to Taiwan, it's going to be an issue. There needs to be a very serious reason why you're going there. Now, if you want to be a crash test dummy and just send fighter jets into Taiwan for whatever the reason may be to start a war with China to end the world, I don't really understand the purpose of that. I mean, if you're going for a photo op, is it really worth starting World War III over? I know what. I don't want to have World War III started over Nancy Pelosi. Find me somebody else to start World War III over. Don't let it be Nancy Pelosi. Good grief. So here is John Kirby. And I have more video, but I'll place those in the box out of the sake of time. But here he is talking about the whole situation. He calls it drama.
I guess I'm wondering, why did the president bother with this drama from the beginning? I mean, why not, rather than saying the military doesn't think it's a good idea to go, why not call the Chinese bluff or tell them to pound sand when they started bellyaching about the possibility of this trip? Given, as you pointed out, there's no change in policy and there's precedent for Pelosi to visit Taiwan.
So what's the drama?
Have you watched the Bravies the last couple of weeks? I mean, there's been this question of...
Yeah, I've been here the last couple of weeks. I haven't seen any drama. I think you're manufacturing it with your question. Look, we have been nothing but clear.
I mean, there's plenty of drama. You didn't just hear what my man said from China just a moment ago. Well, you didn't hear it, obviously, because you're not, this ain't really real time. But surely you've been able to get word from China about this whole Taiwan trip. You're not just in the dark. If I'm able to hear what's going on, then you know what's going on. You are in the Pentagon. You know exactly what's happening. There's drama because if she goes to Taiwan, there's going to be a problem. Now, whether China follows through on their threat is not even the point. The point is that there's drama because of that whole news that broke about her going to Taiwan. They're talking about smoking. They're talking about killing the Speaker of the House. So that's a serious issue that shouldn't just be ignored like that. But apparently by the news media and by the federales, it is being ignored. Or at least they want to not tell us what's going on. Maybe they're really scrambling behind the scenes, but want to come off as cool, come and collect it to the general public.
With the Chinese about where we stand on the issues and the one China policy and our support for a free and open Indo-Pacific. Look, I want to go back to what I said at the beginning, and I hope you took note. Nothing has changed.
So Kirby's trying to deflect. He's trying to say, well, nothing has changed. We still believe in the one China policy. We still don't believe in the independent Taiwan. We still support China. We still support the Sino-U.S. Relations, all this and that and the third. But he's not addressing the elephant in the room, which is Nancy Pelosi. He won't even say if she's going to Taiwan or not. This is a whole big mess. A whole big mess. And you know what? I'm gonna leave it right there. There's more video, but it's basically kind of rehashing the whole thing. And I'll link to all that in the box. But I understand what's going on here. This was a miscommunication because Biden came out and said that it probably wouldn't be a good idea if Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan. But if she's going to Taiwan, you can't say something like that because all you do right there is give the Chinese ammunition. They sent out John Kirby when it should be Karine Jean-Pierre talking from the White House press secretary role. They roll them out there to just try and deflect when it comes to issues of foreign relations in the military. That's all that it is. Hey, throw them out there, take him off the trail, throw him a bone, and have that be that. Trying to calm the media down, trying to calm the American people down through the media. But if you're able to see what's going on, this is a really big problem. So I think, just in my humble opinion as I close, that Nancy might not make that trip. She'll go to Singapore and Malaysia and South Korea and Japan, but Taiwan, she probably would back off because of all of the rhetoric surrounding it from the Chinese Communist Party and from the U.S., where it's conflicting. You got Biden saying one thing, Kirby saying one thing. What's going on? But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about this whole situation with China and Taiwan? Should Nancy Pelosi go to Taiwan? Should she have said that she was going to go to Taiwan? Well, I won't say she said it because I'm not sure if she announced it. But should it have even been planned? Because, again, if you go on Air Force One to Taiwan with fighter jets, they're going to be like, well, what's this? Is it worth it for her to go to Taiwan? What is she going to do there? Must she follow through now because it already has been put out there? And if she backs off, that means China wins. Whatever your thoughts are on that, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think that this shouldn't have been the trip from the beginning unless you're ready to deal with the consequences. You know what it is. You go to Taiwan right now with fighter jets and you got a weak president, a weak economy, a weak country. I don't understand the logic behind the planning of the trip. Nancy Pelosi, I mean, come on. That's just so silly. I don't really understand. The government right now in the USA is not being run properly. It's kind of, you know, I want to say dog and pony show. It's a small town carnival that got a few drunk guys setting up the rides, and the rides tipping over, falling over, breaking down. That's kind of what's going on with our federal government as it exists today on August 1st, 2022. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.